What's up everyone? My name is Will, aka White Trash Willie, and today I have a very special video for you guys. Today, we're going to be working on the Fingerboard Park. That's right, the Fingerboard Park. Now, like other previous Fingerboard Park videos, this is going to be a multiple video section because there is so much that has been done to this Fingerboard Park. This first video is going to be about these wonderful mountains that are behind me. When I was creating the Fingerboard Park, I really wanted to make sure that each section had its own theme. And over the course of the videos, if you guys have kept up, we've created the water section with the fish tank, created the city section with the Legos, we've created the desert section with the cactus garden, and to bridge the gap between the water section and the desert section, there's this wonderful mountain section. Something about this Fingerboard Park that I always try to do is I always try to make each section better than the last. And I try to incorporate little cool things here and there that I've seen in Fingerboard Parks in other people's places, and just very creative things that I've just thought of by myself. And one thing that I really wanted to do with this section is I wanted to make it pop. I wanted to really make it stand out. Because the section behind me is the first wall that you see when you walk into the room, it really needed to be something that stood out. Previously in this room, there was this black Undialed sign that looked kind of ugly and it wasn't the best. So that had to be replaced. And what I wanted to create is I wanted to create some sort of sign or some sort of object that lit up that said Undialed in it. Another thing that I wanted this section to have is I wanted it to be a hybrid section. And what I mean by that is the previous sections that I've worked on this side of me are mostly all concrete, and the sections on this side of me are mostly all wood. So I wanted to make this section a hybrid between wood and concrete. So when I was thinking about making the background, I thought it would be really cool if I made that out of wood. So I had this idea of creating a layered mountain effect. And basically what that is it's a whole bunch of 4x8 sheets of wood that I cut into shapes, and then when you stack them all on top of each other, they create this really depthy vibe. So when creating this whole process, I went into Photoshop. So this right here is a picture of the background with this red shape on top of it. And this red shape right here is actually a 4x8 sheet of wood that I've cut into this shape. So my idea was I was gonna cut these crazy shaped pieces of wood and stack them on top of each other. So there's this layer, and then on top of this layer comes this layer. And this layer completely covers the layer behind it. And then the next layer is basically like the first one, except it goes on top of the second one. The fourth one goes on top of all of those layers. And then it continues with the fifth layer, and the sixth layer, and the seventh layer, and the eighth layer, and finally the ninth layer. Now the ninth layer is literally just this circle right here, but it is 9 total layers that makes up this super depthy mountain. So the first thing I'm going to show you right now is basically me cutting out those sheets of wood and creating these layers. So right now I'm going to be tracing out the first mountain layer. This is the first actual visible layer that you're going to see. So I'll take my best crack at it. Alright, so you guys just saw me cut out this sheet of wood, and right now we're basically putting it up against the wall right now to see how it lines up. And it's lining up really well, but there's a few little adjustments that I had to make. You can see that I've marked out some little more areas that I have to cut out, and once I cut those out, it'll be a perfect match to the background. So basically what's going to happen is we're going to start layering these mountains, so that way the mountains will actually start to have depth, and it'll start to look really cool. So I'm gonna cut this out, and we'll cut some more sheets out. Let's do it. guys, so we have just cut out the 6 layers, or actually, we've cut out the 8 layers of wood that is gonna make up the depth V mountains. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna cut some holes in it for electrical purposes and lights, and then we're gonna paint it. So let's do that. Hey guys, so it is the next day, and right now what I am basically doing is I am basically cutting out a whole bunch of little routes. They're gonna go through all of these individual planks that are basically gonna be it's basically gonna be like a little maze that's happening behind the mountains. And the reason that I'm making a maze behind the mountains is so that way I have slots for electrical cords, so that way all these mountains can light up. I have to make a pretty crazy looking maze, so that way you can't see the wires from the skate park, but you could still replace the lights if you wanted to, and also just make it look aesthetically pleasing. So there's a lot that I'm doing right now that you're not actually gonna see in the skate park, but it's necessary if you wanna have the details. So I'm gonna cut out this little piece right here, and let's keep on moving. Awesome, so I cut this out right now, and now we have a boomerang, so I can throw it at you. So I'm basically gonna keep cutting out little random pieces of each of these planks so we can move along. And once I have them all cut out, I'll show you how it all strings together. Cutting out the layers was actually really difficult. It took me a long time to just make sure that everything would line up and everything would fit. It was a really complex 3D maze, but overall it ended up working out. So here's me painting it. Alright guys, so I've just finished cutting out all of the little internal pieces to the sheets, so that way it'll complete the little 3D maze that I was talking about earlier. But let me show you guys what the sheets look like now. We got one right here, 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 another one, the one that says Undialed, and the top one right here. So what's gonna happen now is Clayton and I are going to paint each of these white so they're a nice primered color, and then in the morning we are going to paint it some color. So let's do it. that I did do with the layers though that I really want to point out is the fact that I made them go darker to lighter. So the layers that are farther in the back are darker, and then the closer that they get to you, the lighter they get. And my whole idea behind that was to create a really depthy, cool effect. We have just driven the vehicle to IKEA and picked up some lights, because it is now the time of the video where we take this beautiful wood creation that we've painted and we're going to turn it into a beautiful light structure that we're going to put into the Fingerboard Park. But for now, we're going to assemble the light structure up so that way we can put it together. But right here is something that's super complex. It's kind of like a big 3D maze, and I've never built anything like this in my life, and I'm really curious to see how it turns out. I think that it's going to turn out fine, but we're just going to watch. You guys are just going to watch the process of figuring this out. So let's do it. So the lights that I got from IKEA are the Undialed lights. They're pretty much the same lights that we've been using throughout the entire Fingerboard Park. They have two options. They have one option that's just white, and they also have another option where you can change it to any color you want. I've kind of done a mix of white and the colored ones throughout the park, and that's going to be no different with this sign. I have the white ones and the colored ones, and I also have some other lights, but we'll get to those in a moment. So the first lights that I'm going to be putting into this 3D structure is these white bar lights, and basically where these are going to go inside of this square. So there'll be one light that goes over here and one light that goes right here. And basically what this is going to do is this is going to illuminate light outwards, because there's going to be like a hole right here and then it's going to build up. That's basically the whole point of building this whole wood structure. I really wanted to show a lot of depth within the Fingerboard Park. We're going to start putting some lights and some holes, so let's do it. These lights from IKEA actually come with double-sided tape. I don't know if it's double-sided tape, but it's this it's kind of like this 3M backing that's double-sided or double adhesive. So this is really convenient. This is a good add-in for IKEA. Thank you for including this. First light installed.
right now we are at a pretty good spot, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be screwing the first 5 layers together right now. And I've pretty much got all the cords where they need to be, so I won't need to deconstruct it anymore to get where I need to go. But right now we're basically going to screw these together, and then after that we're going to screw each layer down individually. So that way it's just all nice and together. But let's do that. So one thing that I didn't really mention in the video so far is the first 2 layers. So if you saw the first layer, it was this really kind of small layer that went completely behind the next layer that you couldn't even see it at all. And then the third layer was a very similar layer that got completely hidden by the 4th layer. The reason that I wanted to do that is I wanted to have the last 2 layers have gaps between them, so that way I can install some ribbon lights. So that way the mountains would actually like light up. And it turned out pretty cool. Watch us put it in. Well guys, that is the conclusion of this video.
We have many more fingerboard videos coming your way, and I'm so excited to show you guys the entire process of building this section behind me. It's not even done right now, but over the course of all of these videos, you're going to watch it from start to finish. So make sure to subscribe so you can see when we upload more videos. Make sure to like this video so that way more people can see this entire process. Make sure to share this with your friends. Don't just share it online, like go talk to your friends about it. Like if this is something that you want to do with your friends, it's a really fun process and it will really help you learn tools and it will really help you learn how to create something from scratch. So if you want to do this with your friends, just talk about it. Make sure to go to undialed.co and pick up some shirts and some stickers and whatever we have in stock. We have shirts like this one that are only $5. So go check those out. My name is Will, aka White Trash Willie. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at White Trash Willie. Make sure to follow Undialed on Instagram at Undialed. And for fingerboarding, go to undialedtv. And yeah guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you guys later.